Have you been living in Buenos Aires for a few months and now you're starting to get homesick? Then this video is for you. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm really excited to share with you a few things that you can do to help combat homesickness when you're living in Buenos Aires. And as you guys already know, I lived in Buenos Aires for a few years as an American expat. So this list will be more tailored towards an American that's living in Buenos Aires feeling homesick. However, if you are a different nationality, then definitely stick around because there's still going to be some really good ideas for you to look for when you're living in Buenos Aires, and you can actually kind of take those ideas and make them pertain to your own home country. And if you like American breakfast, then stick around for my last one because it's a good one. Of course, there are many things that you can do to combat homesickness feelings when you're living abroad. However, I put together this list of 7 quick things that you can do if you're an American living in Buenos Aires and you're starting to feel a little homesick. So if you're ready to get into the list, give me a thumbs up below and let's dive in. And the first thing that I recommend whenever you start feeling homesick in Buenos Aires is to go to the movie theater. And there are many movie theaters. There's probably one in almost every neighborhood in Buenos Aires. So there's many to choose from. The movies that are filmed in America are going to be just in English, and they'll have Spanish subtitles along the bottom. So not only do you feel like you're back home watching just a plain old movie in the theater, but you'll also have an opportunity to practice your Spanish if you want to. You can watch the subtitles at the bottom as well. And I'm telling you guys, we have spent many Fridays and Saturdays going to the movie. And once the lights are dimmed and you're eating your buttery popcorn and maybe a Coca-Cola, you really cannot tell you're in Argentina. You feel like you could easily be back home. For me, that's Texas. If you're feeling homesick, maybe try going to the movies and see if that will make you feel a little bit better. And also, if you're not American, at least in Buenos Aires, I know that they did what they called film weeks. And for 1 week, I forget what time of year it was, maybe it was in April, but they would they would show all films that were done from France, or they would do different countries like that, Chinese films. So definitely check it out. Just because you're not American doesn't mean you can't find a film there at the movie theater that doesn't make you feel like you're at home too. All right, my number 2 recommendation when you are an American feeling homesick in Buenos Aires is go to Kansas Steakhouse. Now, if you get in a taxi like I did my first time and say Kansas with a little southern accent like that, they're not gonna know what you're talking about. So you gotta try and Spanish it up a little bit. Also, another tip for taxis, if you just give them the address, that's what they like the most. If you tell them a place or a restaurant, usually they prefer an address, so stick with addresses. But getting back to Kansas Steakhouse, it is an American restaurant where they serve pretty much entirely American food. For appetizers, you can find anything like their Chicago dip, which is really yummy. It's basically going to be a spinach artichoke dip. They have buffalo wings, they have French fries, they have Caesar salads, which are phenomenal. For the main dishes, you're gonna find everything from hamburgers to their Houston ribs to steaks to salmon. And then for dessert, if you're wanting to keep it American, you can do a cheesecake with strawberries, or if you want to put a little bit of Argentine flair in there, you can get a dulce de leche cheesecake. So there's lots to choose from. The restaurant is delicious. It is a little bit on the pricey side, so just be prepared for that. So it's probably not someplace you're gonna go every day or even every week, but maybe once a month, once every quarter, where you really wanna splurge and get a really good, yummy American meal. Kansas has you covered. And another amazing thing about Kansas, if you are, I don't want to say stuck, but if you are in Buenos Aires, or if you're stuck in Buenos Aires because you're missing Thanksgiving back home in the United States, they have an amazing Thanksgiving meal available, so definitely check it out. They have all the traditional fixings as far as turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy. They usually have some kind of squash or green beans and then a pecan pie. So definitely check it out if you are in Buenos Aires over Thanksgiving, and you will still feel like you're in America because they have an awesome Thanksgiving dinner. Okay friends, for our third thing, we're keeping it food related, and we're gonna head over to Palermo to go to Chicken Bros. And Chicken Bros is a cool spot. It has all your American favorites, but they definitely obviously specialize in chicken. Their buffalo wings are delicious. They're really popular. Definitely check it out if you like buffalo wings, but just any kind of American food in general. They have some macaroni and cheese. And sometimes they even have events going on American holidays like July 4th. You can also usually find your favorite American football games. So if the Cowboys are playing or the Texans are playing, then check them out because they might have the game on their TVs in their restaurant. It's just an awesome place to go whenever you're missing home and you kind of want to eat some wings and watch the game and just feel like you're back home in the United States. The next thing you can do if you're feeling a little bit homesick is head to one of the many malls that Buenos Aires has. And I really enjoy going to the mall because they have a real Western feel to them. You might not know all the stores that are in there. You might not be familiar with them. They may not be the ones that you're used to from back home. But the overall mall layout with the food court and different shops, clothing shops, that definitely feels like any typical American mall. And usually in the mall, you will find some stores that you are used to. You'll definitely find food in the food court that you're used to. There's a lot of fast food in Buenos Aires, so definitely head to a mall and maybe just take a stroll for an hour or two, get some chocolate, and just really enjoy your time at the mall. And that might help you feel a little bit more like you're at home for a few hours. All right, my next place to go when you're feeling a little homesick is going to be Starbucks. And I know I've got quite a few food things on this list, and I think that's because for me, food can feel like home sometimes. And at Starbucks, it's not necessarily the food or the drinks, it's also just the entire atmosphere. And once I started going, I started realizing it really felt like home to me. The American music was playing, kind of like that soft rock where you can kind of do your work but have music playing in the background. They have some of the typical American foods, which was nice, like a blueberry muffin, so good. The lemon loaf, so they have some of those typical American foods. I also enjoy getting the Argentine foods as well, like pan de queso. I wish I could go back and get some of those right now. But yeah, I really enjoyed going to Starbucks, and even if it was just taking a book and just reading for an hour or two, just being around different people felt good, and it just made me feel like when I was in Starbucks, I was back home. I think it was a combination of the music, the food, the drink, and I really enjoyed my time there. So if you're feeling a little bit homesick, maybe get a book or take your laptop and go work from Starbucks for a few hours, and you might feel like you're back home for a few hours. All right, my last two also have to do with food, guys. So my second to last one is going to be real simple, real quick, American fast food. And obviously I don't want to talk about fast food too much because there's so many other amazing foods in Buenos Aires you can eat. Obviously, I've talked about them on this channel many times. However, there are some days where you just want a greasy burger from McDonald's, or maybe you just want a turkey sandwich from Subway. Well, in Buenos Aires, you can get all those things. There's plenty of American fast food to choose from. There's Burger King, again, I said Subway, there's KFC, there's McDonald's, there's so many things to choose from. So if you are just having one of those bad days where you just want some American fast food, then Buenos Aires will have you covered. Friends, if you are still here, then you are in for a treat because I saved my favorite for last, and that's going to be Jay's American. And let me tell you, if you like American breakfast, Jay's has you covered. I honestly wish I had found this place sooner. It is a tiny, tiny spot on the edge of Recoleta, and they serve American breakfast. They also serve some lunch and dinner options as well, but it's mostly, they're famous for their breakfast. And their breakfast includes everything from pancakes to waffles to scrambled eggs to white toast. They have hash browns that are delicious. They have real bacon, and it's all so, so good. And I kid you not when I say that their fluffy pancakes are probably just as good, if not better, than any pancakes I've had in the US. They're delicious. You can get maple syrup, or again, if you want to keep it a little bit Argentine, then you can get them with a dollop of dulce de leche on top. So good. The only downside of Jay's American, which isn't really a downside, it's just something to be aware of, is that their dining room is very, very small. There is very limited seating. So just be prepared if you go on a weekend, like a Saturday or Sunday, that there might be a wait, or you might just have to take it to go back to your apartment. But if you are feeling homesick, or you're just missing American food, or you're craving an American breakfast, then Jay's is the best place in Buenos Aires to fix that craving. All right, friends, as you can see, there's so many things that you can do when you're feeling homesick in Buenos Aires. There have been many Americans that have taken their culture to BA and settled down there and opened up restaurants or cafes. So there's lots of places you can go to feel more cozy or more at home. I also recommend things like going to different churches or libraries. I feel like sometimes when I'm in a library, it doesn't matter where it is. When I have my nose in the book and I'm reading, it feels like home. For some of you, that might also be church. It doesn't really matter where the church is. When you're actually in the sanctuary, it feels like home. So there's all kinds of things you can do to help remedy homesickness when you're living in Buenos Aires. But these were just a few of my favorite. And if you're living in BA and you're starting to get a little homesick, or you're missing American food, then this list is going to be so helpful. So definitely keep it handy. And I will see you next week with another video about expat life. Bye, guys.